My name is Eze Ojiji. I'm a lawyer. I'm in legal practice also, and the issues it, concerning our country are they are quite enormous and numerous, and to address them, one needs to be methodical and quite painstaking because the issues did not just start today. There are issues that have over time developed and evolved to become what they are today. Now, if you look at the judicial aspect of our society, years back, we were, at least when you go to court and the judgment is pronounced, there are no sentiments as to whether they were the right judgment. There are no sentiments as to the sincerity and the incorruptibility of the judges many years back. But we find that as our system and society began to deteriorate, so also every factor, every facet of the economy is also affected because every section is a part of the whole larger system. So you cannot isolate, you can't have one that is shielded completely from what the malaise in the society is. So the legal angle you find nowadays, there are so many contentions as per judgments that have been delivered by our courts. And the issues are, you feel that there's the intervention of the executive and politicians in the activities of our courts and judges. In 2015 or 16, when President Buhari came to power, we all know how the DSS invaded the residences of Supreme Court justices. That had never been done before. It had never happened before. And the president went to Ethiopia at the time to say, oh, the major problem he was having with his government was the judiciary. So you find that also because perhaps those, not all, maybe some of our justices may have had their hands tainted. And so when you know that a man has some skeletons in his cupboard, you will hold him by the jugular and he will play to your rules because he does not want to be exposed. But we cannot we can't generalize and say, oh, our judiciary, our judges are all bad. No, far from it. Far from it. Well, first of all, Festus Keyamo is a senior lawyer. He's a senior advocate of Nigeria. He's a member of the inner bar. And so when people of such status speak, their words carry weight. So that's one thing that we need to note. Now, whether is right or wrong is another issue entirely. But when somebody of his stature and status makes an opinion, sometimes it is assumed that, oh, that is the position of the law. Okay? So, but it is not, he has aired his opinion, but he's not the final arbiter. He's not even a party in the matter. He say his opinion cannot go to any effect. Okay, so it is a matter that if ever it comes up before the courts, I believe that the courts, our judges, will do the right thing. Because the law, our jurisprudence is based on what is called precedents. So, to a large extent, you will see that in law, every judgment, every matter follows a particular trend, unless there are factors or issues that make it different. But generally, the principles are the same. So for this particular case of if, because it's still in the realm of speculations, Jonathan has not come to say, oh, he's contesting. PDP has not made him their candidate, so we are just speculating and hypothesizing, right? So, but if and when that that is the case, and anybody chooses to interrogate it in court, then we would know what the judges have to say. But we know that the judgments that have been given on that matter way back in, is it 2022 or thereabout, and even beyond, or way back, I'd always said that no legislation, no law has a you cannot make laws in arrears, so to speak. It cannot be retrospective. You cannot make a law in 2025 today, okay, and it will take effect. It will take effect before the day that it is signed. So it is when the law is signed, that is when it comes into effect. So if and when whoever decides to interrogate that decision, then the courts will do what they are supposed to do. But we must also give our courts their flowers. Over time, we know that, like it is said, that the courts are the last hope of the masses, of the common man. And they have always, in a lot of cases, stood by what we know to be right. Because, like somebody said many years ago as I was growing up as a lawyer, he said that law is common sense. Okay? Law is common sense. So it should not be something that is beyond us, our comprehension as human beings, to understand that, look, if this is like this is how it should go. Okay, so our judges are there to put the legal perspectives of the law into it. A lot of things actually depend on the persons, the personalities who are involved, who are in positions of authority, either at the executive level arm or judicial or even wherever, you know. So those who, like when President Yaradua came into power, he acknowledged, he admitted, he said, look, the process that brought me to power was flawed. And he set about trying to rectify that. So that was a man who had the sincerity of purpose. So if our leaders would have that consciousness to realize that, look, you are there not for yourself, you are there for the betterment of the society, and you need to do what is right, what is good. If they have that, then the system, the judiciary, will do its bit. They need to strengthen the judiciary. And how does that come into effect? By observing the rule of law. Yaradua at the time said, the rule of law will guide everything that I do. Where the rule of law is absent, it is the rule of the jungle that comes into play. So we have to not look at our own personal interests or parochial interests, but look at the good. How will this benefit the generality of the country and move it forward? Because if you think that the rule of law is just personal, no, it affects even the economy of the country. It affects the interests of foreigners to come in, their desire to come and do business here. Because if the law that we operate and the system that we operate cannot guarantee that, look, things are done right, they will not come. you will find that many businesses, many agreements, many transactions, when they might make contracts with foreign interests, they and it gets to arbitration, it gets to the governing law of that. If there are disputes in that transaction, they would not say, in most instances, they will not say they will go to the courts here in Nigeria. They always refer their disputes to arbitration. What does that tell us? There is a lack of confidence in our system. That says a whole lot about us as a people. For me, everybody wants to. They say that what if you have tasted Aso Rock before, you would want to go back there because there is a pull. Power has a pull on people. So if he has, well, as human beings, everybody wants to to rise and have as many opportunities. But for me personally, I would not encourage him to come back. You leave when the ovation is loudest, they say. Okay, he might come back now and it becomes a different ball game entirely, and people are singing because Nigeria in 2015 is not Nigeria in 2025. A whole lot of things have happened, a whole lot. So if you think that now people are rooting for you to come back, don't, because human nature is very fickle, very, very fickle, and people change very, very easily and quickly. So every generation learns from the ones before it. The life is just as government is a continuum, life also is a continuum. What we know today is what we learned from our parents. So if our parents are not doing what they are supposed to do, we will see the little children will also pick from them. But we cannot, because our parents before us were doing wrong, and we will now say we will also do wrong. No. Every generation is meant to be better than the one before it. So I would say, as young people, do not be taken in by the lifestyle of those who we see today, who are out to grab power, to make wealth, money, fame, power by all means. No. Look to your own self. How can you better yourself? How can you be the best version of yourself? What are those things that you can imbibe, those qualities that you as a person can be proud of, that you can also say to your children without any fear of contradiction and with boldness, this is how I made my wealth. This is how I live my life. If your children, as a young person, follow the example that you're setting today, would you be proud? So it's not about getting acclaim, applause, and having whatever it is. It is all about you as a person. As a young person, don't look at all the attractions that is around. No. Focus on how you can be at peace with yourself and with your God. That is all that matters. Because wealth is ephemeral. It comes and it goes. But your personality is what will count for life and for eternity.